covered courts and things like that, which, not every venue has those or has enough of them. So it's really a complicated question, and I would just say I don't know, but it's looking less and less likely, and I think that psychological impact is going to be a big one. I mean, can you have this event with, that normally hosts 800,000 people? Can you stomach it with, maybe 250,000? I'm not sure. Is that even worth it? So that's the kind of stuff they're having to figure out. And that's really difficult because you're having to kind of predict how people are going to react to this situation. And, it's still, 5 or 6 months away. So tricky decision, and I'm glad I only have to read about it and not make it.
Brett, thanks for making time for us. We appreciate it, and hopefully we can do this down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe one day we can actually talk about some tennis that occurred.
Yeah, that'd be great. Brett McCormick, who covers tennis for Sports Business Journal. Follow him on Twitter at BrettJust1T. BrettJust1T. Brett McCormick of Sports Business Journal, joining us here on Miller and Moulton. He made the comment, Mark, that basically we're going to start to find out what type of insurance these tournaments have.
Yep. You got it.
Or like he said, if only 200,000 people come through the turnstiles instead of 800,000, does the USTA deem that worthwhile even holding? Or
I said it earlier in the show.
USTA, it's like the USGA. I mean, this is their big moneymaker. This is it. So is it worth having with no fans or worth having with only 20% of the fans?
And as we get towards the end of our show, we do the takeout shout-out for restaurants that are open and doing takeout. We've got a couple people that have recorded their thing. You can call to record 479-5577. 479-5577 if you're a restaurant owner, manager. Call that number, do your recording. We're playing them not only on this station, but on throughout the company stations. Something we're going to do. Fort Myers Broadcasting has been a part of here for a few weeks. We're trying to make sure that people get out. But as I mentioned this, yesterday when I picked up my pizzas, too.
Right. Plural.
The owner of the restaurant was contemplating, do I stay open? Because if you want to pay your employees and get the money that's out there, do you close your business? And it's the same thing that these tennis tournaments and the Open Championship. It is no different. It's just bigger insurance and more money. But that's the dilemma that people are having right now. Tough choices.
Our poll question is asking whether or not you think an NBA or NHL season is going to resume. Will they finish the 2020 season, or have we seen our last hoops and hockey of this season? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. And, I think the NBA seems hell-bent on trying to stage something, bringing everybody to one or two sites, one or two hotels, and just playing it out. Even without fans, they seem hell-bent. Mark Cuban just yesterday was emphatically telling people on Twitter, we are going to do something. Trust me.
Now we're desperate as sports fans right now. Think about in this market where the NBA numbers are the worst of any of the sports we follow compared to the rest of the country.
Correct.
We outdo the country for hockey. We outdo the country for golf and horse racing and NASCAR and Indy, college basketball. We do really well for everything not named the NBA. Our NBA numbers would be through the damn roof if they had a tournament over the course of 4 weeks that we could watch. Through the damn roof.
Yep.
They could run it all day. David, they could start the games at 10 in the morning, and I would be getting off the show going, hey, we're getting ready to watch Portland play Phoenix. Can't wait.
There'd be a whole lot of people in Southwest Florida getting educated about Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies.
You got it.
Yes.
You got it.
You are right.
I mean, when I get a text that just says, and I hate the new normal, I want everybody to know I am not a fan of the new normal, and you did put that in this text. New normal. Liquor sales up 243% in New York last weekend.
Think about that. Willing to risk death by going out to get their booze. That's how tough it is.
Quick funny sidebar to that, David. Yesterday I did my Costco run, and everybody's doing a really good job. There's a pretty decent line, but it looks a lot longer than it is because everybody's 6 feet apart. And they let in about 35, 40 people at once. So I was in the second group to go in. And as we're going in, there's a crosswalk area to the liquor part of Costco. And the lady gets out there and stops the carts from coming so this guy can come through. And I very loudly went, "There are important things in this world. Let that man get his booze."
Right. Paper products and alcohol. What if that's it? You've got priority in this joint.
And I think I've had 3 drinks in the last 3 weeks, too. That's about to come to a screeching halt. That's what happens when the wife gives up wine for Lent. Could Easter get here more quickly?
Miller and Moulton. Mo Egger of ESPN 1530 in Cincinnati will talk a little draft and whether or not there's any something to the talk that the Bengals would entertain trading out of the number 1 spot. Mo Egger from Afternoon Drive on ESPN 1530 in Cincinnati,
Mo.
Fox Sports Ohio. Mo will join us next on Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
The coronavirus has changed our lives.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Who would have ever thought we'd see a day when sports would stop?
It's not about your brackets or who's going to win March Madness. It's sort of about getting through this.
Fox Sports Radio will continue to be informed on all the latest coronavirus information through our partners at Wink News.
The number of cases of coronavirus in the state.
And for the latest in our ever-changing sports world.
It looks as if the Olympics are going to be postponed.
Count on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
Guys, the physicians and staff at Center for Men's Health want you to know that C4MH.com is open and will remain open through this entire ordeal. C4MH.com
I don't know if it's true, David, but I don't know if you caught that little stat there. I saw that in my John Wall Street. Half of the German top 2 league teams they think could fold.
The most advanced antivirus disinfectant available today. And unlike any other
Yeah.
And they just did. I read the thing was on soccer because of all the Barcelona players that have taken the 70% pay cut. But that team is a lot more like the Packers. It's
Gotcha.
member owned, if you will. So that's why they're so big on everybody taking 70% of salaries they're taking, and they're giving 2% of what's left to coronavirus related charities. But that's basically they're playing for the Packers from with the way it sounds.
And I know because I'm a patient there too.
Welcome to Jimmy T's
Well,
Shop.
How
Mark,
many ECHL teams survive unless their insurance is great?
The finest steak and chop
Oof.
in Southwest Florida. All cuts expert
First off,
at their very own
what
butcher shop. A true
what
butcher
ECHL
shop.
team has pandemic
Generations
insurance?
of mastering Wagyu
I can't imagine any.
Berkshire pork,
Can't imagine. I can't imagine. There's an interview right there with a Darren Heitner or somebody like that. That's not a bad play down the week to tape something a little more long. We could,
Like the Blades were fortunate the way their schedule was stacked. They only lost out on 3 home games.
and you lose money in the playoffs until you get to the final.
Right.
No, I actually
So-
think the Blades came out of this okay. If you want to know the truth,
Yeah.
I think they came out of it all right. Now, I think Craig was beating people up to not cancel the league because he thought he had a chance at a title because that's the mentality of Brush. And I don't mean that in a bad way. He thought he had a title. I know the way the guy thinks.
Hello, I'm Jimmy Williamson with Williamson Brothers Roofing. If you answered yes to either question, it's very likely your roof suffered damage from Hurricane Irma that's not visible from the ground, and you may very well be entitled to a new roof for little or no money out of pocket. But you only have a 3-year window to make a claim.
Chris
Time is running
Cuomo?
out. You have a tile
Right.
with a single roof and live
He
between
said,
Fort Myers and Marco Island. Call us.
that apparently
283
his fever was so bad and he was shivering so hard that he chipped a tooth and that he started hallucinating and he saw his father.
Call us at 239-283-2013.
He said,
Time is running
"It's
out.
pretty
Call us
brutal."
at 239-283-2013.
And he goes, this is rough stuff here.
Williamson Brothers Roofing specializes in
I mean,
this process.
what's interesting is that like Cuomo was talking about his brother was talking about trying to bring everything in from upstate to these hospitals and all that. It is interesting because I think the same thing's going on here. we're in reasonably good shape on this coast with beds and things like that for the moment. But
Right.
they're not on the end. And that's the horror. I mean, what if upstate brings everything down and all of a sudden it goes there? I could get where I'm a hospital not wanting to give up my people. I mean, this is...
Well, what they are offering on the open market, like New York City's offering, the state of New York is offering nurses 10 grand a week if you'll come from where you are to go work in the city. Yeah, because my wife's extended family, they moved. By the way, they're driving from Colorado to Florida as we speak. They drove yesterday. They'll get to Florida late tonight. But where they left, they were living. Melissa was with her brother and sister-in-law, and they're both nurses. And they literally are debating 10 grand a week for 10 weeks. Will you do it? It's $100,000.
Now back to Miller and Moulton.
All right, now we're getting
But you could die.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
$29 minutes past 8 o'clock on this first Thursday in April. How you holding up? It's been a long 3 weeks, hasn't it? Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us, making us part of your day. Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, streaming at foxsportsfm.com and broadcasting live on many a place, including the Miller and Moulton YouTube and Twitch channels. Joining us on the Goldberg New & Abraham Law Firm hotline, goldberg-law.com, is Mo Egger of ESPN 1530 in Cincinnati, rocking it in Afternoon Drive, and also a part of Fox Sports Ohio. You can follow Mo on Twitter at Mo Egger 1530. Mo, top of the morning to you. How are you and your friends and family holding up in Ohio?
We're doing okay. We're doing all right. You know, we're getting by. We miss baseball immensely, but we have the Bengals having the number 1 overall pick to look forward to. So in that regard, things are okay.
Mo, there has been a lot of talk and a lot of rumors. There always are. This is the lying season, as many people call it. But the fact of the matter is there is now talk that maybe the Dolphins are trying to court the Cincinnati Bengals to get the number 1 pick away from them. If that were to happen and Cincinnati trades the number 1 pick to Miami, what type of a revolt would there be in Southern Ohio?
It's a great question. People have suggested that we're going to have, civil disobedience and rioting in the streets if the entire economy collapses. That would pale in comparison to what would happen if the Bengals did anything but draft Joe Burrow. Fans have been locked into this for months. We've gotten so far down the line with this. I mean, for the last couple of months, really, you've been able to find people walking around in Joe Burrow Bengals jerseys, and he obviously hasn't even been drafted by them. He has been talked about in the present tense by Bengals fans for so long now that it feels like he's already on the team. I think if at the last minute they pulled the rug out from underneath people and did anything besides draft Joe Burrow, I think that the level of betrayal and frustration that people would feel, it would be the last straw. I mean, look, let's face it. This is the team that has put fans through the ringer. 30 years without winning a playoff game. Nobody went to Bengals games last year when they played that game in Week 16 against the Dolphins, which they almost came back and won. I've never seen people so happy to see the Bengals lose a game. So it would be the last straw for a lot of people, even if it made sense for them to do. I just think from an emotional standpoint, it would be, you would have a lot of people that viewed that as finally the opportunity to socially distance themselves from the Cincinnati Bengals.
Very nice. Very well played. See what you did there, Mo Egger, 1530 ESPN. There's a reason that you are the guy in Afternoon Drive in Cincinnati to be able to work social distancing into an answer. How much of it, Mo, though, is Burrow the player and Burrow where he's from? Honestly, if he was from Minnesota, would there be the emotional attachment to him that there is?
No, of course not. it's certainly for a lot of fans a factor. I don't think it's, for most fans, the factor. I think, if anything, the college football playoff puts players on a stage that even in the day and age of the BCS, we didn't have. Fans watched that game in the national semifinal against Oklahoma with rapt attention that they ordinarily might not have cared that much about. Same for the national title game against Clemson. Heck, if you go back to the day of the college football playoff semifinals, Ohio State was in one of those games, and yet, here in Ohio, there was more attention being paid to what Joe Burrow was doing against Oklahoma. So the fact that he played so well in games that here so many people saw, this isn't like, he succeeded on some stage unseen. He did it on the biggest stage in college football. Everybody paid attention to it. It certainly does help that he's, from Ohio. But I think if anything, it's the exasperation with watching what the Bengals have tried to do at quarterback over the last couple of years. It's the understanding that when you have the number one overall pick and there's a quarterback like Joe Burrow there, this is not a chance you might get down the road. But yeah, I think we'd all be kidding ourselves if we didn't acknowledge the fact that he's, a guy who's from about 2.5 hours from Cincinnati. That factor. But for a lot of people, it is obviously clearly a part of why folks are so excited about him coming to Cincinnati.
Okay, so Burrow has not helped this situation. He has said he'll play for whoever drafts him, but he's liking tweets or Instagram posts from the Dolphins. He has played this. I believe, Mo, and I'm curious to your thoughts, I think Joe Burrow has played this as well as anyone has in the Twitter, social media era of being reasonably cryptic, but still answering things mostly the right way. Joe Burrow has been as big a part of this problem as anybody, and he's getting really none of the grief for it, is he?
No, he's not. Look, the liking the tweet about the Dolphins on social media, I can't explain that. The rest of it, though, he has been non-committal and he has been cryptic without saying anything controversial. And what's happened, I think you've had two things. Number one, I think you have folks who are bending over backwards to read between the lines and put his mouth that aren't there. He's not going to say, I want to play for the Bengals. He's not going to do that, because in the off chance that he were to end up elsewhere, he's got to go back and revisit those words. He's not going to put himself in a corner. But the other part of this is, I think it's very easy to look at the Cincinnati Bengals and go, why would somebody want to play there? Let's not kid ourselves. If we didn't have a draft and Joe Burrow could pick wherever he was going to play, chances are he's not coming to Cincinnati. If you're one of the best employee prospects coming out of college, you're not going to go pick the worst company to work for. So the basis of all of this speculation about whether Joe Burrow would pull an Eli or pull an Elway and tell the Bengals that he didn't want to come here, that's based on decades of ineptitude. That's based on 30 years without winning a postseason game. That's based on being a franchise that nobody associates with doing everything it possibly can to win, with being conservative, with being, I think, to a degree, unfairly labeled as cheap. All of this is rooted in the failures of the Cincinnati Bengals. And so, I've said for a couple of months here, it's now going to be on the Bengals not to convince Joe Burrow to want to come here if he's drafted. He doesn't get a choice. It's on the Bengals to win while they have him, or else Joe Burrow in a couple of years will do what so many other players have done before him, and that's count down the days until they can leave. So I think he's played this well. I think he has been non-committal. I think he, put out some fires at the combine when, he had an opportunity to say, I don't want to come to Cincinnati, and he said, I'll go wherever I'm drafted. But if they continue to do what they've done for the better part of their entire franchise existence, And that's kind of be behind the times, conservative, not go overboard to try to improve their roster, not surround Joe Burrow with what he needs to succeed, not give Joe Burrow a chance to have the kind of success that has, eluded so many players here. He's going to tell them to take a hike, or he's going to take a hike when he has the first opportunity to do so.
Do you think the Bengals are legitimately entertaining the Dolphins' best offer, or do you think, quite frankly, that the Bengals are like, they know the NFL would get mad at them, but they're like, listen, can we just get this over with? Because if I was the Bengals, Mo, quite frankly, I'd already have him signed, and I would have already traded Andy Dalton. I believe you get more for Dalton. Well, I believe you get more for Dalton before the draft. That I don't think you get more for Dalton after the draft. I don't think, and we're not going to have workouts. I mean, the odds of somebody getting hurt much before Labor Day are going to be even slimmer this year, I think, than in past years. If the Bengals are holding out for value for Dalton, I think you get it now as opposed to after the draft. I would already move forward if I'm the Bengals, but do you think there's a snowball's chance that if the Dolphins say 3 number ones and a future pick, yes or no, that they would say yes?
When I was 16 years old, I asked Stephanie Dye to the junior prom, and she said she would think about it and tell me the next day. And the next day she told me no. I thought for those 12 hours she was literally considering it. I'm sure the Bengals are kind of giving them the same treatment. Yeah, we'll kick it around. We'll think about it. The answer is going to be no. I mean, whether or not it should be is a good question because they were 2-14 last year. They have a lot of holes as a 2-14 does, but I would be floored. I would be stunned beyond belief if on April the 23rd we have any result other than Joe Burrow being drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm sure they're listening to any and all offers, and I'm sure they're kicking it around amongst themselves. But somebody said to me when this process started, this is the only time that if you're a Bengals fan and you want them to take Joe Burrow, this is the only time that you're going to be happy that the team owner is Mike Brown, because Mike Brown loves two things, quarterbacks and cheap labor. And Joe Burrow's a quarterback who they don't have to pay a whole lot of money. In terms of the Andy Dalton thing, they've kind of screwed this up because of the timing. There are off seasons where I think a lot of teams would have liked to have had Andy Dalton. You only have to make a 1-year commitment. Comparatively speaking, he doesn't make a ton of money. He's had a good career. He's had success. But in an off season where you could also take a whack at Teddy Bridgewater and Tom Brady and Phillip Rivers and maybe Jameis Winston or Cam Newton, Andy's a little bit less appealing. I tend to think that what's going to happen is they're just going to have to cut him loose and not get anything for him. Maybe Jacksonville gives them something, but they're not going to get that much for him. And I certainly don't think they're going to bring him back to be Joe Burrow's backup for the kind of money he's going to be making. So the timing has not played in their favor. They really should have traded him at the trade deadline last year, which is when they benched him. And instead, they kept him around, brought him back at the end of the year, gave him a chance for a swan song, and now they're, for lack of a better way of putting it, stuck with him. But, again, getting back to the original question, I think I certainly don't think the Bengals are going to announce before the 23rd that Joe Burrow is going to be the guy, but Joe Burrow is going to be the guy. And again, if we had any other result on the 23rd, I would be stunned.
Whatever became of Stephanie?
I ran into her at a restaurant about 2 years ago. And the guy she was with was like 350 pounds. So now I'm really upset.
Mo Egger of ESPN 1530.
I'm not 350 pounds, by the way. So just for the record. I have a lot going for me, but I'm not 350 bills yet.
But
ask me after quarantine, I might be.
I can tell because, for our Twitch and YouTube, we put a graphic up of who our guest is. And, Mo, I'm not going to lie. You know the headshot I've got of you probably because it's the first one that comes up. You don't always look happy.
Wasn't happy that day either.
Mo Egger, Afternoon Drives, ESPN 1530 in Cincinnati, also part of Fox Sports Ohio. Follow him on Twitter at Mo Egger 1530. Mo, thanks so much for your time, and hopefully you'll agree to do this again after the draft.
Anytime. Look forward to it. Thank you.
Mo Egger, kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton, and he did so on the Goldberg New and Abraham Law Firm hotline. Local people, local practice, local knowledge, Goldberg-Law.com. See, it's funny how you look at the glass half full, half empty. You know, you could look at something like that, you could feel good about yourself. Well, look at me. Instead, you go, I wasn't good enough, but so once again, it's how you look at things.
Always is,
along
David.
with Mo, I think the three of us look at things along the same light.
There is no doubt. He's one of us, David. It's amazing how many people in this industry are.
It really
You know,
is.
much the same way earlier in the show, I said all these kindergarten, first, second, these elementary school teachers who are so much a part of these kids' lives. I think it's bothering the teachers maybe more than it's bothering the kids right now, that they're not able to do what they do. That's why they go to that line of work. That's why curmudgeons like us end up talking on a microphone for 3 hours plus a day, David.
Miller and Moulton. Too late to record your message for today's takeout shout out. If you do want to record it, it's 479-5577. That's the number to record your short message to help promote your business. Let us know where you are, who you are, when you're open, etc. 479-5577. That's how to record it. You can, however, text who you are and what you do and that sort of thing at 479-5551. 479-5551, the Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text and talk line. Take out, shout out as we wrap up this Thursday edition of Miller and Moulton. Thanks for being with us. We love being here on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
This is a special coronavirus update from Wink News.
I'm Therese O'Shea with Wink News. Starting tonight at midnight.
David, one of our, someone you don't know, that when I say their name, you won't know who it is, but one of our favorites passed away of coronavirus. Adam Schlesinger. He was the lead singer of Fountains of Wayne, but he wrote that Thing You Do.
Thing You Do. Tom Hanks, I saw his tweet last night before I went to bed. He said, we don't have this movie without him. And he was, what, 51, 52? I mean, he
52.
was young.
Yeah, I mean, Fountains of Wayne's kind of a, you know, it's a band from our era, if you will. It's, you know, that.
Yep. Yeah. And if you really think about it, all right, I think Butera was talking about it on Twitter. He goes, you think about how central that song is to the movie. Okay, to buy the premise for the movie, the song had to be good enough that you could believe it would be a big hit.
It's a good song.
Yes, exactly.
No, I mean, it's like, I listen to it like, it's, you know what, Tom's right. Something catchy. Something
peppy,
snappy.
Something snappy. Yep.
I mean, I can hum it in my head right now.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty good to do from a one hit from a movie.
Yes, and that's what Butera was saying. He goes, you know, it really is, the whole theme of the movie is that song had to be, okay, so good and obviously original. You know, you got to come up with something also from that era that you're writing in this era that's...
Well, it's one of the, of course, we'd all love to interview Tom Hanks. I could do an hour with him on that movie because they wrote all those songs. You know, the guy that sings the
Playtone.
The Playtone, which is the name of his movie company now. You know, if you watch all those documentaries,
on
at
CNN,
the end it's the Playtone thing.
Absolutely.
But the guy that puts his sunglasses on, that introduces the Wonders, that sings the whatever, you know, kind of got that Sinatra-y type vibe. Yep. Those songs are all made up. The one that the drummer sings at him, the first. I mean, come on. That shit's all, I mean, it is all written in that genre. And it's, I've always been fascinated by how the writing of the songs for that movie were done. Because they cranked out 8, 10, 12 singles for that thing. You know, some only played for a few seconds, but man, there was a lot of music in that.
Yep. We're on the phone with our good friend Tim Meister, owner of the Four Meisters in Naples. TJ, we just added several new colors of Cortec to your great lineup of products at the store. Tell us more about that.
So did you see what Kraft did with the Patriot planes?
Supposedly a million masks from China.
Right. David, the responses on Twitter for Kraft going to Asia for a happy ending.
Gotcha.
I mean,
But
next level stuff here. Next level. May mention a few of those things with the best today, just to let you know.
Oh, boy. Keep those cards and letters coming, ladies and gentlemen.
The hell else are we going to do?
Or go online, fourmeisters.com. That's fourmeisters.com. How about making better vision part of your to-do list? Dr. Jonathan France, a pioneer in LASIK surgery, and his expert team of surgeons at France Eye Care want to help you see your future in 2020. France Eye Care is offering $1,000 off bilateral LASIK. This is a huge savings, made even more affordable because financing is available. So when these clouds of confinement are lifted, rid yourself of those glasses and contacts and experience the freedom of LASIK so that you can see clearly as we drive far, far away to, well, the grocery store to pick up food and toilet paper. Make LASIK with France Eye Care the easy choice. Start the process today by scheduling your free consultation with no purchase obligation. Wishing you the very best of health from France Eye Care.
France Eye Care.
From the best headlines
The best.
To the worst.
It's the worst thing that ever happened to anybody ever.
Prepare yourself
And hide the women and children.
This is Mark Miller's Good, Bad, and Ugly on Fox Sports Radio.
You're live.
That's not the right open, Euro. We're the good, the better, and the best now, for crying out loud. I don't need that music. We don't need agony. We don't need despair. We need uplifting stories. This is the good, the better, and the best, for crying out loud. What the heck is going on? We go to Kroger for the good today. Where Kroger, looking out for their employees, the supermarket chain has announced it will pay those hourly workers a hero bonus. They'll get an extra $2 to their hourly rate for shifts worked from March 29th to April 18th. Make sure employees have access to additional money. Kroger will be handing out the premium weekly. Their CEO says the hero bonus is just one more way we continue to convey our thanks and gratitude. No doubt. I truly believe that all the praise that's being heaped on the medical community, they deserve every single bit of it. The one place that's not getting enough praise is all these people basically making minimum wage so we can get groceries every day. I think these people at Publix and Winn-Dixie and everywhere else in Costco are working their asses off. And just be nice and smile and thank them when you go to the store.
It is amazing that the food train, if you will, in this country has continued the way it is. I mean, I really thought through this we were going to see food shortages. I mean, I went to the grocery store 2 days ago, and all I saw were paper product shortages. Otherwise, there was plenty of food in the grocery store.
We can get food. We can't get. It seems that we can't get pasta, flour, or toilet paper. Those aisles are gone.
The only limit I saw on anything I could purchase was for pasta. They said you could only have 2 of each kind. There was plenty of it, though.
Oh, because I went yesterday and there was none.
Oh, interesting. Well,
now, I won't go back to that Publix. I mean, somebody else went to another one close by and said it wasn't as bad. I'm kind of done with the one that I think's getting bombarded a little bit more. So it's not them. It's just people hoarding. What are you going to do? We go to Colorado for the better, where Susie Montoya celebrated her 102nd birthday.
Wow.
Right on. The Arvada Police Department supported a local business by ordering cherry pies from a local bakery, and they delivered them. Dave Snelling, a detective, took the pies to the crime lab, cleaned them with disinfecting wipes while wearing a mask and glove. Then he arranged for firefighters to oversee the delivery. They all did this while holding big gold balloons with her age. The detective Snelling officially declared it Susie Montoya Day. Very, very good. And for the best, We go to Foxborough.
What?
Then to Asia. And we do it all without a massage. Robert Kraft using the Patriots planes to go to China to fly back 1 million masks to Massachusetts. This is a happy ending that everybody can agree upon in Massachusetts for Patriot owner Robert Kraft.
Really?
That, David, David, is the good, the better, and the happy ending best. He doesn't have Tom anymore, but he still is able to get his happy ending for all of the people in Massachusetts. That
How many times did you have to say happy
ending
ending in that story?
6. I'm only at 4. I've got 2 more.
One for each Super Bowl? Is that what you're doing?
Exactly. See, look at that. And that is the good, the better, and the best on this March 33rd, because April has declined of 2020.
Right. It is opted out of its 2020 deal, much like Everson Griffin. Okay, they have said, nope, enough of this.
In fact, the year tried to franchise April, and they're going Le'Veon Bell and just sitting the sucker out.
Right. May is looking hard at its contract as to whether or not it has to stay a part of 2020 as well. Without further ado, time for today's Takeout Shout Out.
The Oasis Restaurant on Dr. Martin Luther King is open Monday through Sunday for takeout from 7:30 to 2:30.
Hi, this is Pizza 2000, just calling to say we are open for pickup. So come on in, 7101 Cypress Lake Drive in Fort Myers.
Hey, this is Jay from Bubba's Roadhouse and Saloon in Cape Coral. Takeout or delivery from 11:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. Southwest Pine Island Road, 239-282-5520, or you can place your order online at bubbasroadhouse.net.
So Oasis Restaurant on MLK Drive, Pizza 2000 in Fort Myers, and Bubba's Roadhouse Saloon in Cape Coral, taking advantage of our Takeout Shout-Out offer.
And another one that a listener pointed out to me, and I actually saw this morning on Wink News that I had on the background. Lowbrow Pizza is in East Naples. First off, I've heard it's delicious. So let's just get to that. I've heard nothing but good things about this place. But they are doing a thing called Pizza It Forward. You can buy a lunch or a dinner for a hospital worker or a first responder for $15. Go to their website, lowbrowpizzaandbeer.com, and you can pizza it forward. I think that's just a spectacular idea by their owner. If you want to get a lunch or a dinner for a hospital worker or a first responder, they literally are right by the courthouse in Naples, so pretty close to the downtown hospital or the East Naples Physician Regional there, and obviously the police and fire. So Lowbrow Pizza doing a pretty good thing there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Awesome. I like that better than showing up in the parking lot. And, the heart was in the right place. But, listen, can't go wrong. Wallet or stomach. Okay, you can never go wrong with helping somebody out by putting a little something in their wallet or their stomach.
Yes, to both. Love them both.
How much pizza you got left over? You ordered
Lots.
2 yesterday.
I had 3 pieces is all. I only had 3 pieces.
Oh, I'm impressed.
You
had a
8
whole
per
sleeve.
pie.
You had a whole sleeve of Thin Mints and 3 slices of pizza yesterday.
Yeah, the wife had 2, the daughter had 1. So there are 10 slices of pizza in the house and one sleeve of Thin Mints. I don't like the Thin Mints chances.
I'll tell you what, it's a good thing I'm not there because I would have gone down and grabbed a slice. A little cold pizza in the morning, I would have gone over big.
The daughter's got a big decision for her snack break today. Thin Mints or cold pizza?
Ooh, that's true.
10:30 snack time. I try to keep to the same regimen the school is set, so we'll grind it out here for an hour and a half before snack time.
My money is on Thin Mints because she's about to turn 6. Okay, 3 years from now, my money would be on the cold pizza.
Mine's going to be on pizza.
Ooh.
Mine's going to be on pizza because she's not had enough Thin Mints to know just how. She's only had one in her life. She just doesn't know what it is yet.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. The Dan Patrick Show is next on Fox Sports Radio.
Thanks, Jero. Good job.
Jero,